Welcome to the Central Florida Expressway Authority's Refined Alternatives Public Workshop for the State Road 417 Sanford Airport Connector Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study. We appreciate your attendance and participation. The purpose of tonight's public workshop is to share information with the public about the study, including the two remaining alternatives being evaluated during the PD&E study. This is the third public meeting for this PD&E study. This meeting and study are being conducted without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns relative to compliance by CFX with Title VI may do so by contacting Nick Lully via the information on this slide. All inquiries or complaints will be handled according to CFX procedure and in a prompt and courteous manner. The Central Florida Expressway Authority, or CFX, serves 3 million residents and over 75 million visitors a year. CFX's 125-mile regional expressway system is planned, designed, constructed, maintained, and operated by CFX using no tax dollars, only toll revenue and toll bonds. CFX has a $4 billion 5-year work plan. CFX also operates ePass, the first electronic toll collection system in Florida, with more than 1 million ePass accounts. CFX is an independent agency of the state, governed by a board of 7 locally elected leaders and 3 governor-appointed representatives, with identified mission and vision statements to serve its customers. The project development process followed by the Central Florida Expressway Authority for new alignment expansion projects is shown here. The project is currently in the PD&E study phase. At the conclusion of the study, after public input is received on recommended alternative concepts and based on Central Florida Expressway Authority board approval, the next phase would be the design phase. After the design phase are the right-of-way, permitting, and utility coordination phases. The PD&E study phase considers environmental effects during the alternatives evaluation process and provides an opportunity for input during the early stages of project development as alternatives are being considered. In 2023, the Central Florida Expressway Authority completed a concept, feasibility, and mobility, or CF&M study to evaluate a new direct expressway connection between State Road 417 and the Orlando Sanford International Airport. During that study, 4 corridor alternatives were developed and evaluated, and each of these 4 alternatives was found to be feasible. This CFX PD&E study began in May 2024. The project team has been refining and evaluating the 4 alternatives that were recommended by the CF&M study team, plus a 5th alternative, an elevated viaduct that runs along East Lake Mary Boulevard. Several studies have been conducted for a northeastern extension of State Road 417, but none of these previous studies determined the new expressways to be feasible. Most recently, the Turnpike is currently in the design phase for the widening of State Road 417 from 4 to 8 lanes between State Road 434 and Airport Boulevard. The CFX State Road 417 Sanford Airport Connector CF&M study was approved in 2023 with authorization to move to the next phase of project development, which is this PD&E study. The study area for the current PD&E was expanded from the CF&M study to include the area for the viaduct option along East Lake Mary Boulevard and extends from west of State Road 417 to Skyway Drive to the east, and from the Lake Jessup Wilderness Area boundary north to Lake Mary Boulevard and the Orlando Sanford International Airport. The State Road 417 Sanford Airport Connector Expressway is being proposed due to expected increase in growth at the Orlando Sanford International Airport, the projected increase in traffic along East Lake Mary Boulevard, the projected population growth in Seminole County, and to support the planned development in the study area. Because of the ongoing development and growth in the area, East Lake Mary Boulevard is quickly approaching capacity, and there are long delays experienced during peak periods at the interchange with State Road 417 and at other intersections between State Road 417 and Red Cleveland Boulevard. The purpose and need has been further refined during this study for the design year 2050, and the project is anticipated to enhance regional connectivity and mobility, address anticipated future traffic needs, support socioeconomic growth and planned development, and provide improvements to modal connectivity. This PD&E study is evaluating a new expressway connection from State Road 417 north of Lake Jessup to the Orlando Sanford International Airport. 5 alternatives were considered. Alternative 1 is the longest alignment and has the greatest direct residential and non-residential impacts. Alternative 1 travels from State Road 417 south of the Lake Jessup Toll Plaza to the east and north to East Lake Mary Boulevard east of Sipes Avenue and connects at Red Cleveland Boulevard south of the Orlando Sanford International Airport. Alternative 2 is the shortest alignment and has the lowest potential environmental impacts of the 4 new alignments through the middle of the study area. Alternative 2 travels from State Road 417 north of the Lake Jessup Toll Plaza to the north and east and connects to East Lake Mary Boulevard at Red Cleveland Boulevard. Alternatives 3A and 3D attempt to balance the direct impacts to the existing and planned residential developments, as well as environmentally sensitive land. They both begin at State Road 417 south of the Lake Jessup Toll Plaza and head north to connect to East Lake Mary Boulevard at Red Cleveland Boulevard. Alternative 3A is located west of Alternative 3D and has the potential to impact residences north of Pine Way, but avoids impacts to the existing stormwater ponds south of Pine Way. Alternative 3D is located east of Alternative 3A and avoids direct residential impacts north of Pine Way. Alternative 4 is a viaduct or a raised bridged roadway that would begin at State Road 417 in the area of the existing interchange with County Road 427 and Lake Mary Boulevard and run east along the median of East Lake Mary Boulevard to Red Cleveland Boulevard. The proposed connector typical section consists of a divided roadway with 2 15-foot travel lanes, a grassed 32-foot median, 4-foot paved shoulders, and 10-foot landscaping strips on each side of the roadway. Retaining walls run adjacent to the roadway and are separated from a wildlife fence by 17 feet of grass on each side. The proposed bridge typical section consists of 2 separate bridges with one 15-foot travel lane, 6-foot 6-inch outside shoulder, 7-foot 6-inch inside shoulder, and a 1-foot 4-inch barrier on both sides of each bridge. Shown here is the proposed interchange with the potential airport connector at the airport entrance at Red Cleveland Boulevard. This interchange would allow for full access to East Lake Mary Boulevard and Red Cleveland Boulevard and maintain local access at the existing intersection. Drivers would be able to access the southbound proposed connector from Red Cleveland Boulevard or East Lake Mary Boulevard. Existing sidewalks and pedestrian facilities along East Lake Mary Boulevard and Red Cleveland Boulevard would be maintained. Traffic analysis was completed to determine the future year 2050 daily traffic volumes on East Lake Mary Boulevard and the different airport connector alignment alternatives. By the year 2050, East Lake Mary Boulevard is expected to carry 36,700 vehicles per day. If Alignment 1 is constructed, it is projected to carry 19,800 vehicles per day and reduce the traffic on East Lake Mary Boulevard by 43% to 21,100 vehicles per day. Alignments 2, 3A, and 3D are projected to carry 21,900 vehicles per day, which will reduce the traffic on East Lake Mary Boulevard by 46% to 19,800 vehicles per day. Finally, Alignment 4 is only projected to carry 8,900 vehicles per day, which will reduce the traffic on East Lake Mary Boulevard by 21% to 29,100 vehicles per day. An evaluation matrix that includes natural environment and socio-cultural criteria has been prepared to document the various impacts and costs for each build alternative along with the no-build alternative. The evaluation criteria includes traffic, physical impacts, cultural impacts, natural environment impacts, social impacts, and estimated costs. This part of the matrix identifies the projected daily traffic volume on the airport connector in the year 2050, the projected daily traffic volume on East Lake Mary Boulevard in 2050, and the resulting reduction in traffic on East Lake Mary Boulevard associated with each alternative. It also summarizes the potential impacts to utilities, potential contamination sites, railroad, and historic and archaeological resources. As noted on the previous traffic slide, alternatives 2, 3A, and 3D will carry the highest volume of traffic and result in the greatest reduction of vehicles per day from East Lake Mary Boulevard west of Red Cleveland Boulevard. Alternative 1 will carry a little less traffic per day, resulting in a slightly lower reduction of future traffic volume on East Lake Mary Boulevard. The viaduct alternative is projected to carry the lowest vehicles per day, which will also result in the lowest reduction of vehicles per day from East Lake Mary Boulevard. Other impacts shown here are pretty similar between alternatives other than impacts to utilities, with the viaduct alternative associated with the need to widen East Lake Mary Boulevard. The environmental impacts include surface water impacts, wetland impacts, impacts to conservation easements, impacts to floodplains, and impacts to listed species and their habitats. Environmental impacts are generally highest with alternatives 3A and 3D, and lowest with the viaduct alternative. Social impacts include right-of-way impacts and the number of parcels impacted by each alternative, and impacts to parks, community facilities, and the communities in the study area. Alternative 1 will have the greatest right-of-way needed and the highest number of residential and non-residential parcels impacted. The viaduct alternative will need the least amount of new right-of-way, but will impact the greatest number of non-residential parcels. The costs are summarized here. The roadway construction costs also include estimates for the design and construction phases. Other costs estimated include utility relocation, right-of-way, and mitigation for impacts to wetlands and species. Costs for stormwater ponds are not included in the right-of-way costs, but will be included in the cost estimate for the preferred alternative. Construction costs for alignments 1, 3A, and 3D were updated to include bridging the borrow pit just east of State Road 417 following the alternative's public workshop. Alignment 2 has the lowest overall cost. Alignments 3A and 3D are fairly similar in overall cost, but are approximately $20 million more than Alignment 2. Alignment 1 is approximately $50 million more than Alignment 2, and Alignment 4 is significantly more expensive than the others, with a total cost of approximately $300 million more than the other alternatives. Alignment 1 was eliminated for the following reasons: longest overall route with second highest overall cost, highest right-of-way costs, highest number of residential and non-residential parcels impacted, issues with new road adjacent to the airport's runway protection zone. Alignment 2 is proposed to be further evaluated. It's the shortest and most direct route, lowest overall cost, second lowest overall number of residential parcels impacted, connection to State Road 417 farther away from Lake Jessup Conservation Area than other alignments. Alignment 3A was eliminated for the following reasons: second most residential parcels impacted, directly impacts new houses in the Concord development, higher cost than Alignment 2, connection to State Road 417 closer to Lake Jessup Conservation Area than Alignment 2. Alignment 3D was eliminated for the following reasons: higher cost than Alignments 2 and 3A, requires more bridges over private retention ponds than Alignment 3A, connection to State Road 417 closer to Lake Jessup Conservation Area than Alignment 2. Alignment 4 was eliminated for the following reasons: significantly higher cost than all other alternatives, significantly lower projected ridership than all other alternatives. As a result of the analysis completed to date, Alignments 1, 3A, 3D, and 4 have been eliminated from further consideration. A refinement of Alignment 2 is being considered that moves the connection to State Road 417 farther south, but still north of the Lake Jessup Conservation Area, to provide a more direct connection from State Road 417 to Red Cleveland Boulevard. This change was considered significant enough that it should be considered as a new alternative, designated as Alignment 2A. A refined alternatives public workshop is being held right now to present this information on these two alignments to the public before a decision is made on the preferred alternative. The comparison between alignments 2 and 2A are very similar. Alignment 2A has less wetland impacts and mitigation costs, but has higher costs for utility relocations and right-of-way costs and will impact more residential parcels. Alignment 2A is better from a roadway geometry standpoint with fewer curves, improved sight distance through the curves, and would ultimately be safer than Alignment 2. Overall, Alignment 2A is estimated to cost $3 million more than Alignment 2. As shown by the rectangle on the schedule, we are moving from the end of the first quarter of 2025 to the beginning of the second quarter of 2025. The Refined Alternatives Public Workshop is being held this evening, April 2nd, 2025, and the preferred alternative will be presented to the public for review and comment at the public hearing, tentatively scheduled for summer 2025. The study is anticipated to be complete in the summer of 2025 after public input at the public hearing. Persons wishing to provide input can do so by visiting the study website or by contacting Nick Lully, the Public Involvement Coordinator for this study, at projectstudies@cfxway.com. Your input is important to us as we shape decisions that impact your community. We want to hear from you. Please take a few minutes to complete the survey and share your feedback. On behalf of CFX, thank you again for this opportunity to present this information to you. The presentation will begin again momentarily.